Well, Coach, let's talk about the game on Saturday a little bit. And what were some of the issues that you're struggling with as you look back at film with the past game?
Yeah, I think, there's a few things with it, right? I think the execution is a big part of it, right? Just across the board, right? Winning one-on-ones, running individual matchups. And then we got to be better, right? Across the board, from coaches, players, to everybody in the program. We just got to make sure, because we got to be able to throw the ball down the field. And at times, they were loading the box, right? So you have to be able to push the ball downfield. And they go hand in hand, like I've said. If we can move the ball through the air, it's only going to help the run game, just like the run game is going to help the pass game, where if you're running the ball effectively, you're going to get one-on-ones across the board. So I think that's the biggest thing, of really just making sure that we understand how they complement each other.
Let's talk about this week a little bit. What do you see of Louisiana on film?
They're good. I mean, you look at last year's record, they were one of the top teams in the Sun Belt. So, and then you go to this year, I don't necessarily know if the record says who they are. They have a lot of returners on the front, some of their best players, all conference players, and those players are good. So I think the biggest thing is that we got to understand is that each game they've had, they've pressured everybody on the football field at one given time. So we got to be ready for all their different types of pressures. We got to be ready for 3 down, 4 down, and then they play 1 high, 2 high. They play every coverage, bring every pressure, and play every front that you can imagine.
Were you proud that you guys were able to kind of figure something out in the second half, at least last week, to kind of find a way to get a win?
I think the big thing, one of the things that we talked about was that, we don't necessarily know if we're winning that game last year, right? And I think the best part about how that game went, obviously there's a lot of things we have to correct, but the things that we were, proud of was the fact that there was no doubt in anybody's mind. And that's how you have to play the game. You have to play the game with confidence. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot to clean up, but at the same time, right, just using that piece, I don't know if that was a game we would have won last year, and for them to continuously fight all the way to the end was something that we have to hang our hat on, but obviously get better at the same time.
Whenever there is a down game on offense and in the passing game, Zoe seems to really shoulder the responsibility and take it. How do you think he's responded since Saturday?
I think he's done a great job with that, and I think, as a quarterback of the team and as a guy who touches the football every time, you have to, right? He does a great job, and that speaks volumes of who he is, right? And probably deep down inside, he thinks it is all his fault, even though it isn't, right? And that's not even remotely the case. I'm just saying that's how he prepares for it. And so when you have someone that's able to, really look at the things that we need to do better and then demand it from other people, and that's what we talked about this. We got to demand it. We got to come out and practice with a different type of mentality. And look, you get in through these weeks, right? These are when the weeks start getting longer, right? Fall camp seems like forever ago, where we now just have to keep focusing on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday type of approach, so then we're ready to roll by Saturday.
There seems that there have been some drops so far this year. How do you make sure you guys address that in practice to make sure they're not popping up on a Saturday?
Yeah, I think that, the biggest thing is how you practice, right? Obviously, you have things to do with the jugs machine, right? But I think the stress that we talked about is practicing with intentionality, because if they do happen in practice, there's a high chance, and not necessarily drops, just anything, they're going to happen on Saturdays, right? And so it's the confidence factor. So by the time you get into Saturday, the quarterback's confident in the receivers are confident, the quarterback's going to throw them in the correct spot. So I think the big thing is how you address them, obviously, is staying after practice, hitting the jugs machine, right, over and over and over again, and at the same time, not going through the motions in practice.
Any other questions for Dean? No?
No, I got one.
Okay.
Does it add a little bit of an extra layer of frustration when you bring in your run game is doing so well, you're bringing more guys into the box and you can't take the top off the defense a little bit?
I think at the end of the game, we play to win the game. Obviously, there's things that we have to correct in the pass game to be able to throw the ball downfield and help with the run game. It's just really, this game's about the growth aspect of it, and the game is about the stuff that we didn't do well the game before is how do you have a week right now to correct those things. Just like there was times where we have to run the ball better, right? And then we have to find ways to make sure we correct those certain looks that we wanted to run certain plays to. So the frustration, this game is about the process. That's what it's about. It's about every single week getting better. So now putting things on tape, we have to make sure we eliminate those things week by week, because every week you're not going to run 80 snaps of the perfect plays, right? So every single week, it's really just about the growth and the process behind it all.
We haven't seen Alonzo scramble quite as much maybe as last year, same in the design run game. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, how you think he's feeling in the pocket, and have you addressed with him about extending plays yet this year and kind of how?
Yeah, I also think, he's taking less sacks, right? So the counter argument to that is saying that he's getting rid of the football pretty efficiently and on time. So I'd say from the standpoint of sitting in the pocket, right, and forcing offensive linemen to block 3, 4, 5 seconds, he's done a great job of getting rid of the football on time and accurately and early.
Coach, what did the film show you when you look back at Saturday's game?
Shoot, Saturday ended a long time ago.
On to the next, right?
Yeah. We're on to the next obstacle, the next new offense. No, I think we're just, we were able to kind of settle in and play, angry, as coach on the other team kind of said. And once we were able to do that, I think we were we were a lot better off early, kind of just settling in, figuring out exactly what we needed to do to play against them, and then the obstacles that they presented, and just on to the next one.
A lot of different obstacles this week with Louisiana, and they've kind of transformed their offense as the season has went on. What do you see on film out of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, what an awesome win they had the last game they were out there against Marshall. So definitely has you kind of scratching your head. How do you not end up like Marshall? So just they did a great job of kind of creating some plays and putting Marshall in some tough situations at the end of that game. And they hit a lot of explosive plays. I think they lead the country in explosive rushes. So just got to be really good up front, and got to figure out a way to keep them in front of us.
Where's the trust level at with a player like DJ Barksdale, who, even with the size disparity, you guys had him dropping in corner to go against Ted Hurst over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of our best players, so obviously not going to take him off the field, put him in situations to be successful, let him go play man. I mean, you know, he's a great corner. Hurst is a great receiver. Let him play man-to-man.
What does it do as a defensive coordinator when your offense is able to control possession as well as the running game has on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, it's definitely nice when you're standing on the sidelines because they can't score. But, you know, obviously part of that, too, is how quickly we can get off the ball, right? Get off the field, making sure we can get our 3 and outs to put their offense, you know, in a situation where they're getting limited possessions too. So works hand in hand. Good football is played by both sides of the team, them controlling the clock. Obviously when they score points it's even better, but they were able to kind of slow down their offense, give us some time to make adjustments, and we were able to do that.
What have you been impressed with most as up front and interior of the line?
I mean, all of it, right? They're doing a good job playing cohesive together. There's 10, 11 of them playing a game, and they're selfless. They all kind of do their role differently and bring different things to the equation. It makes it really hard on the O-line.
You were talking a little bit about settling in on Saturday, and Georgia State's offense definitely looked different after those first 2 possessions that they had. Were there any adjustments you were making? Were you showing them anything different, or was it just about sort of easing the nerves?
Yeah, don't give up a hitch and miss a tackle, and don't get penalties. No, I think we consistently do a good job of figuring out, you know, how they're attacking us and how we can settle in. But at the end of the day, you know, we got to do a better job without giving up 2 penalties on the drive. I think the past 2 games, you know, both times they've scored, it's because we got 2 penalties on the drive. So got to limit the penalties and, you know, stay aggressive, which is kind of our MO. We play angry, but we can't get penalties. And then the explosive plays, right? That's how everyone scores in college football. I think we're number 1 in the country in not giving up explosives, but when you do on that first possession, you're going to put yourself in a situation where they could have got points. Obviously, you know, unbelievable effort by JT and DJ to run it down and save us the opportunity to hold them.
What do you think it says about your defense on that play, too, with DJ and JT both not giving up on it?
These guys care a lot about the brand. They care a lot about JMU. They care a lot about each other, and they're playing for each other. So, you know, it allows Eaglin to take the opportunity to possibly get a pick 6 and make an aggressive play because he has faith in the guys behind him that they're going to put it all on the line to make sure we run it down. So they practice that way on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they build habits, and it's something that we preach and just give us 1 more inch. And we were able to do that on Saturday. We've had a few big red zone stands earlier in the season. Just got to keep doing it. And this team makes it hard because they're very athletic, very fast. And when they get in the open field, it's hard to run them down.